So the Baltimore Ravens have made their decision clear, but it could be a risky move. If you've been following the Ravens this offseason, you already know they're not going to make a big splash in free agency. They're not going to bring in any big signings. They're not going to bring in any big contracts or any big names. But what they're going to do is try to strategically bring in guys to replace other guys, wait till the latter half of free agency, maybe even when it's over, and pick up some guys on the cheaper end. They'll do everything in their power to save and make sure that they don't lose any compensatory picks, and kind of try to find guys who may be at the tail end of their careers but may still be a little bit productive at a cheaper price. Always remember, right player, right price. But this move isn't the one that I think is going to be risky when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens offseason. The move that is the riskiest is what they plan on doing, or what appears to be what the Ravens kind of have in store for their first round pick in the upcoming draft. There are some people out there who saw what the Philadelphia Eagles did during the Super Bowl, and we've had some departures. We had Michael Pierce retire. Some guys may be moving on, and we need reinforcements. We also need to get some push up the middle that we're currently not getting. So understandably, inside pressure, defensive ends, outside rush guys the Ravens may be looking to, or some of the fans think the Ravens should be looking into for their first or second round pick. Me personally, I think that they should get a tackle. I think that they should get a guard, but I don't think that's where the Ravens are going to go. Last season before the draft, I told everybody the Ravens are going to pick a cornerback this year, and they're going to draft a cornerback next year. But now I'm starting to waver a little bit on that cornerback thing, thinking that they are going to pick one up in the first 2 rounds guaranteed. But now I'm thinking that they have shifted their first round pick to a safety. And they've said all season long, safety is a top priority to us. Third safety is a top priority to us. This could possibly be the reason that they tendered the low round tender to our Darius Washington, knowing that he could leave with no compensation, knowing they were going into the draft to get someone that may be possibly an upgrade. And to me, this is a humongous mistake. Yes, the safety that they have in mind, the guy that they're thinking of, if he is still available when the Ravens pick at 27, of course you're going to get great value out of it because he was a ball hawk in college. But to me, the safety position does not impact the NFL game like a lot of people think that it does. Kyle Hamilton is a unicorn, and he can do a myriad of things on the field, which makes the position a little sexier, which makes it look like that we may need another guy to kind of help out back there. But for the most part, when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, outside of Hamilton, safeties do not affect the game unless they're giving up big plays. To me, more importantly, I think that the Ravens need to go offensive line. We need to go in there in the first and second round and get us a guard to replace Pat McCarr moving on. I know we have Andrew Voorhees, but we don't know if he's ready. We've gotten a small sample size, and it wasn't a great one. It wasn't terribly bad, so don't get me wrong, but it was not a great one. And I don't understand how we can say we need to go get a pass rusher, we need to go get another cornerback when we have pass rushers and cornerbacks on the roster. But we don't want to put those young guys in situations where they may have to start and learn on the job, but it is okay for the protectors of Lamar Jackson to go in and learn while they're going. But more importantly, the Ravens don't have any backup plans. Yes, they brought back Ben Cleveland, but outside of that, what are we going to do at left guard? If Ronnie Stanley goes down, what is our projection at left tackle? Who is his backup? Pat McCarr is gone, so what are the Ravens going to do? They have to get some depth. They have to get some starters, some starting caliber players in this draft. This season is the season of all seasons that the Ravens need to get this draft right. They need to bring in guys that are going to be able to play and contribute on cheap contracts, because after this season, the Ravens are inevitably going to pick up the fifth-year options for Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. Tyler Linderbaum's fifth-year option is $23 million. Kyle Hamilton's is estimated to be around $18 million. Then you tack on the fact that Lamar Jackson's cap hit is going to jump up to $74 million. That right there in itself is $115 million. And remember, the salary cap this season is only $279. So almost half of that would be going to 3 players. And I know they're going to restructure, they're going to do some deals to lower those cap hits, but the Ravens need to get this draft right. And to me, I think that offensive line is a need. Yeah, y'all going to say we have 11 picks. The Ravens can wait till later rounds to get them somebody to back up, to be a starter, to compete, and all these other things. Free agency isn't over, and the Ravens can do these things moving forward. But if you look at the history and look at what has been done with the Ravens, they've found more defensive gems at the later rounds of the draft and in free agency than they have on the offensive side of the ball. Let's not forget in the later rounds, we got Voorhees, yet to be determined. Sala, cut him, he's gone. Daniel Falele, to be determined. Ben Cleveland, discarded, cheap labor. Tyree Phillips and Ben Bredesen. And I know y'all saying, who? Exactly. These are the guys that were picked up in the later rounds. EDC has not had a lot of success picking offensive linemen in later rounds of the draft. So I believe that he has to get these things done in the earlier rounds. Now, as far as that pick that the Ravens are going to pick, we all know that if Malachi Starks from Georgia is going to be available, the Ravens are going to scoop him up. Understandably, he is a talented young man. He's getting the turnovers, or he seems to be capable and able of getting the turnovers that the Ravens have sorely missed in Lamar Jackson's tenure. Don't forget, since Lamar Jackson's been Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs, the Ravens have forced 3 turnovers. So 7 seasons, 3 turnovers. It's a lot of playoff games, minimal turnovers. I understand they want to add someone to the back end. They want to add someone as a playmaker. I get all of that. And don't let them fool you. Don't let them lie to you and say, best play available, best value. No, it's the guys that they want. It's the positions that they feel is necessary. Because all I keep hearing is, yeah, you know, BPA, Ravens motto, BPA, Ravens motto. It's what we do. It's not what we do. It's a lie. It's what they tell you, and it's what you actually believe, that the Ravens do best player available. Not what we've done in the past. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to give you one example right here. Before the 2020 season, the Baltimore Ravens let CJ Mosley walk to the New York Jets for $17 million a year because the Ravens did not want to pay him all the money that the Jets were offering. I get it. I understand it. I mean, he was the quarterback of the defense. He was actually a linebacker that got a lot of interceptions. He caused a lot of turnovers, so he was sorely missed. But then the Ravens went into the 2020 draft and drafted Patrick Queen. You're telling me that we didn't go for need? We didn't say, hey, we need a middle linebacker, so let's go for this Patrick Queen guy. We do best player available because that's the Ravens way. That's how the Ravens operate, best player available. But Patrick Queen was not the best player available. Patrick Queen played 15 games, had 131 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 passes defended, and an interception. 15 games, 131 tackles. Now, that was not his junior year. That was the entirety of his college career. Entirety. 15 games, 131 tackles, 4 sacks for his career. Then you had T. Higgins, 37 games played, 135 receptions, 2,448 yards, and 27 touchdowns. And let's take it a step further. You had Jonathan Taylor, 41 games, 6,174 rush yards in 3 years. 3 years, 6,174 yards, 50 rushing touchdowns, throwing 42 receptions, 407 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns receiving. And you're telling me we're going BPA, and you had those 3, and there were some other guys, because statistically, J.K. Dobbins was better than PQ in college, but just looking at those 3 guys, because T. Higgins went 5 picks after Patrick Queen. You're looking at those guys and you're looking at the production in college, and you're telling me we went and said, oh, well, look at all this production from all these other players. We're going to go with the inexperienced guy because he's the best player available. Or were we getting someone to fill a need? Just like when we get into this draft, are the Ravens going to go best player available, or are they going to fill a need? Because all they've been talking about all offseason long is safety, 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 safety. So there may be somebody on the board that's better than Malachi Stark, and I understand people are going to say, but the value. I could not care less about value. I care about contributions to the team. I care about who's going to make this team better. I don't care about if he was going to be a top 5 pick and we got him at 27. Is he going to help this team win a championship? Is a third safety going to affect this team and affect the games around us to make us win more? Is a safety with a lot of extra value going to protect Lamar Jackson throughout this season with a much tougher schedule? We have a brutal schedule this season. And is a safety, a third safety, a rookie safety going to make that much of a difference? Because the Ravens have found gems at safety. Geno Stone was a 7th round pick. We found gems. So do you really believe that the Ravens need to pick a 1st round safety? And to me, it's kind of risky because you're going into a season without backups on the offensive line because we don't have a lot of money to spend. We don't have a lot of depth on this team, and we've lost some key pieces throughout the years. So the Ravens have to get this draft right. They have to do things correctly and pick the proper people. If you got to give up some picks to move up to get the guy that's going to help this team win, this is something that the Ravens are going to do because we are cash strapped. We are up against the wall. We still need to sign some free agents, possibly this offseason, to fill out this roster. But don't use all 11 picks. Don't pick a safety in the first round. Don't trade back to get more picks and lessen the value of the player that you're getting. Yes, you have more opportunities to swing it back, but when you trade back in the draft, the talent level dissipates. And not to say there are not gems throughout the draft. There are not guys who should have been drafted higher, but the talent pool shrinks a little bit more the further back that you go. So for me, the Ravens need to go up and go in that shallow end of the pool where you have a handful of guys that are going to impact your team this season. Not 3 seasons from now when their contract is about to be up and then the Ravens have to decide, am I going to pay him a boatload of money or am I going to go back to the draft and try this all over again? We need guys who have an impact right now. So to me, drafting a safety in the first round is really risky business. And I don't recall Eric DeCosta being Tom Cruise.